everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video, which is going to be my August wrap-up. We're going to talk about the 7 books that I read, and I have a couple stats I wanted to share with you this month too. So like I said, I read a total of 7 books, and I had 2 DNFs, and that is equivalent to 2,772 pages read. I read from 3 new authors, 4 were repeat authors, and my average rating this month was 3.14. I had a pie average rating. That's not very good. It's quite bad actually. Let's just talk about all of the books. First up, I started the month with Shipped by Angie Hockman. I picked up some cruise ship setting books for the cruise that I went on at the end of July. So I had this one, I've had it for a long time, so I picked it up. The plan was to read them on the ship, but I didn't have enough time to just sit around and read, honestly. I didn't read this till after I got home. But this is basically like The Hating Game meets The Unhoneymooners. So it's like work rivals competing for the same promotion, but it gets like sort of tropical because of like them having to go on this cruise ship together. But I think it's very much a disservice to The Unhoneymooners because I really loved that book. This one was not very cute. It was mostly cringe for me. In The Unhoneymooners, I found that relationship to be a little bit more believable and adorable. This one I was like not into. I didn't like the relationship. I didn't like the characters. And it was also just kind of plain boring to me. It didn't really have the cruise ship vibes that I was looking for. The only thing I did like from this was the snorkeling scene. I thought that was pretty cute. But overall, I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. It was not a favorite. It's not that I don't recommend it. Like if you liked The Hating Game, I would say it's more so like that one because I didn't like The Hating Game either. I don't think I liked the work relationship, like the coworker relationship. Or at least I haven't found one that I like yet. So I know it's pretty popular and a lot of you have probably already read it, but I finally got to it and it was a disappointment to say the least. Next up with the similar setting of being on a cruise ship is Distress Signals by Catherine Ryan Howard. This one is one from her backlist that was like put on my radar and recently intrigued me when the new covers, she posted about the new covers or the new editions coming out for all of her backlist. So I immediately purchased this one because it was leading up to my vacation and I thought it would be perfect to bring on the cruise. Again, didn't read it on the cruise, didn't read it till after I got home. But this one is about Adam. He finds out that his girlfriend has disappeared after she doesn't come home from a business trip, like a conference trip in Barcelona. Then later, Adam finds out that there's a connection between his girlfriend and this cruise ship, and that's basically where the mystery unfolds in the second half of the book. So I will admit that the first half of this can be kind of a slog, and I was a bit lost and confused because it doesn't take place on a cruise ship, doesn't even mention a cruise ship till like the 50% mark. So I was a little bit confused about what I was reading because it was not what I expected right away. So there's a lot of build up to the story. I will admit that I felt kind of cheated when I was reading the first half of this book. I was like, this is not at all what I expected, like what is going on? But if you feel that way, just hang on, just keep reading because it gets so good. It gets so much better. Not that the first half was bad, it was just not what I was expecting. You also read from 2 other character POVs that I didn't know were a thing. I don't think the synopsis tells you that either. So you're reading from 2 other characters that you think have like 0 connection. You don't even know who these people are. You're wondering why you're reading from them. In true Catherine Ryan Howard fashion, I was mind blown by the twists and the connections that were made in the end. I really, really, really loved this book and I couldn't put it down once things started to unravel. I had to know what was going to happen. So I highly recommend this if you like a slow burn mystery thriller. I love this author even though her newest release was not a hit for me. I'm still looking forward to reading more from her in the future. This one I gave 4.25 stars. Next up, I finally read Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This one was the only one besides his newest release that I had still not gotten to yet, and I had it on my TBRs like multiple times, telling myself I need to get to it. For whatever reason, I just finally picked it up in August. It was like, okay, I think what I was worried about was like I was finally gonna pick it up and just be kind of let down by it because I was holding out from reading it for so long. I had heard so much about what it was about, so I knew kind of what was gonna happen in this. I'll say that the like twists and everything were still like surprising. I don't want to say shocking because like I was not really like blown away by what the reveal is in this one. I was hearing really high praise for this one specifically. A lot of people had said like it's one of their favorites. It's really high up on their tier ranking list of all of Riley Sager. I know that I'm kind of in the unpopular opinion category when it comes to which books of his are the best, because I like his most hated ones, or like the ones that people really don't like. Those ones are my favorite. Like Survive the Night. I think that's it actually. Like that's my favorite of his. But I like didn't love Home Before Dark. I didn't love this one. I gave this 3.75 stars. So like still good because it is Riley Sager and I love his writing, but I wasn't like completely astounded with the plot of this one, or like with the suspense, with the thrill of this one. It was okay. I still like the characters. I still like Jules. The build up, like the mystery of it was good too. I just didn't love the reveal. Once it was like pointed out to, I was just kind of like, okay, not my type of reveal that I like obsess over. Really, obviously still glad that I read it because I'm going to read all of his books no matter what. So now I just have to read his newest release, the only one left, which ironically is the only one left that I have to read. Yeah, so I finally read Lock Every Door. I'm very thankful that I did. It's a very, very quick read too. None of his books are like horrendously bad. I'll never have a really bad experience with his books, I feel like. And then for our family book club pick in August, we read Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This is a very young adult summer read about friendship between these two girls. This was my pick actually for the family book club. I wanted to pick it because this has been the book that's been on my TBR for the longest. Like it's the oldest book that I own. It was cute and everything, but it like reads really, really young, and like I wasn't a huge fan. It's also like really long, and the chapters themselves are super long. Like for what it is, I don't think it needs to be that long. I gave this 3 stars. It's about Sloane and Emily, who are best friends, but they're polar opposites. And one summer, Sloane, she's the more outgoing one, like social one. She disappears one summer and leaves behind a bucket list for Emily full of things for her to check off and like do throughout the summer to kind of break her out of her shell and out of her comfort zone. I would really only recommend this to middle schoolers or like really young readers for like a fun summer read. The writing is so fluffy, it's kind of redundant, and like again, it's long. It gets really good ratings. It's like an older book too, so I don't know, I don't really have anything else to say because it's not really for me or for my audience, I feel like. So I would recommend this to younger siblings, someone who's just going into junior high, I don't know, something like that, but it was okay. Okay, and then the last 3 books I don't own physically. I read these all via ebook. So the next one I read was His and Hers by Alice Feeney. This one I wanted to give a shot because I have read Rock, Paper, Scissors by this author and I enjoyed that one, so I wanted to read some more from her. I was really into this book when I first picked it up. The first 50 pages have you so hooked. So I just got like super immersed into the writing style, into the story. But then it kind of lost me after like another 100 pages. I was a little bit over it. And by the end, I knew that it wasn't gonna be my favorite of hers and not like super memorable. So basically, it's like about a man and a woman. You're reading from both of their perspectives, and then you're also reading from the killer's perspective, so it has that detail in it. But I think I was more into seeing the story unravel, but then once it was fully laid out in front of me, I was no longer as invested, even though there was still like twists to come. I didn't like it after a certain point, and I don't really know how to explain that. I liked the mystery of the connections between the characters because it's not all laid out in front of you like in black and white. You kind of have to guess in the beginning with like what's going on, because I went into it completely blind too, so like I don't know if the synopsis does tell you that before. So in my opinion, it wasn't like that great of a book because once the main storyline was laid out for you, I lost interest. So I don't think that that bodes well for this one. So His and Hers I gave 3 stars. The next one I read was Divine Rivals by Rektok Ross. I read this one on my Kindle because it was getting so much hype and I was seeing it everywhere on Bookstagram. I wanted to give it a shot. This one I just love, okay? I give this 5 stars. Very lyrical writing. It is a fantasy. It does get kind of compared to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, so that was another main reason I wanted to pick it up because I love that book. Even though like there were parts that I felt were a little slow or didn't fully understand what was going on. As a whole, this book is absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend this book, especially if you love fantasy, if you love lyrical writing. It's so good. By the end of it, I was like wanting so badly to just like keep reading from these characters and from this story and like this world. Ends on a cliffhanger, which I was not expecting, and now I'm like itching to read the second book. I can't wait for that one. This one actually is like work rivals, magical typewriters, they're writing letters to each other. It has like a whole war going on. It's not like heavy on the politics, but it's definitely a part of it. I'm totally gonna butcher trying to explain this to you, and I'm sure you probably have heard a little bit about it already too. Just want to say I highly recommend this. I gave it 5 stars. I can't wait to read the second book. Next up, I read one that I really did not like, Too Late by Colleen Hoover. This one is about Sloane, who is trapped in an abusive relationship with a guy named Asa, who is basically paying for her brother's medical care, so like she can't leave him and yada yada yada. In comes Carter. He's like the hero of the story. He's come in to save her from this relationship, and honestly, blech. Already that doesn't sound like that appealing to me. This was actually another family book club pick. We managed to read 2 books this month, or I guess they kind of overlapped. Everyone in my family book club loves Colleen Hoover. I like her too, but now that I've read so many other books besides hers, I've just found that I enjoy other authors. I enjoy other types of books. Anyway, so this one I found the characters to be really boring and underdeveloped, and it was hard to read, honestly. You read from all 3 of their perspectives. You read from Sloane's, you read from Asa's, and you read from Carter's. Carter has like this hidden identity. Asa is literally just disgusting. Like his chapters made me want to vomit. Sloane just like has this trauma, obviously, and I didn't really feel for her. She just was made to be like way too weak, and I don't like that. So she just was like looking for another man to save her. Categorized as like a thriller suspense. It definitely is dark. It deals with a lot of dark, heavy themes, which usually are my vibe, but for some reason it just didn't work for me. It did not have me on the edge of my seat. I was not feeling the suspense at all, and I didn't really care about what was happening. Though I know that the suspense aspects do work for others. Like for other people, they do get stressed out. Everyone else in my family book club did like it and felt that way, that it was really high intensity. I just didn't feel that way. So anyway, I gave this 1 star. I really did not like this book at all. Okay, and then really quickly, the 2 DNFs that I had in August were Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemor, I think. There's nothing inherently wrong with this one. I was enjoying it. I picked this up because the premise is super interesting. I've never read anything like it before. It's a contemporary science fiction about a woman who, after her 18th birthday, starts living every year of her life out of order, and her birthday is on New Year's Eve. So then as soon as it turns New Year's Day, she wakes up a completely different age out of order. So like instead of turning 18 to 19, she turned like 18 to 55 or something like that, and then that happens for the rest of her life. Again, nothing really wrong with this one. I think it was just one of those slower paced books that I picked up at the wrong time. I may try to get into it again in the future, even though I still think it's super interesting and I want to know what happens. I just don't think right now was the time I should have picked that one up. And then the other one that I DNF'd on the last day of the month, I just didn't want to carry it over into the next month because I was not like really feeling this one either, and that is The Truth About Heartbreak by B. Celeste. So I picked this up solely because I wanted to read the second book in this series, so I was okay with putting this one down and not continuing, because also I just wasn't loving it. This is a kind of an age gap romance. It's only 4 years. This girl, River, she gets adopted into this family, and so then she has this new brother named Oliver, and Oliver's best friend Everett is the love interest, and he's kind of like a part of the family. He's basically like a brother to Oliver, so it's kind of a twist on brother's best friend, but like not literally. But the problems I had with this one is that it romanticizes cheating, and Everett is with another woman for over half the book, and I just think that that kills the chemistry, and then it like doesn't make you want to root for them, because River is then like the other woman that he's cheating with on the other girl that's like still in the book for over half of it. I'm like, why is she still here? And then also like the miscommunication trope is a big part of what carries the plot along, so it was really boring and not my vibe, because it was really long. It's over 500 pages, and I don't think that the pacing was good at all. I think the pacing was way off. I'm hoping that the second book is better, which is called The Truth About Tomorrow. This one I really wanted to get into because I think it's more of an age gap. I just hope that the writing is better in the second one. If it's pretty similar to this one, then I might not get through that one either. It is on my September TBR, so I will be giving it a shot soon. But this one I had to DNF because I just didn't care enough. Okay, and those are the 7 books plus the 2 DNFs that I had in the month of August. Let me know how your reading month went. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!